Tonight, critical witness testimony from the prosecution's closing witness, a state investigator presenting a detailed timeline of the night Murdaugh's wife and son were murdered.
All right, so this timeline, this condensed timeline begins roughly when?
Around 6 p.m.
All right, on what day?
June 7th, 2021.
Cell phone and GPS data from Murdaugh's SUV pinpoint when he had left his home. The data shows driving faster around the location where Maggie Murdaugh's phone was located at the roadside, just 16 minutes after the time of death.
Was that top speed higher than any speed he achieved when he went to work earlier that day?
That is correct.
Testimony also revealing Murdaugh was at his mother's property for 20 minutes, while he had previously given different accounts of how much time he had spent there, telling an investigator he'd been there for 45 minutes to an hour. Cell phone data also showing he dialed 911 less than 20 seconds after he arrived at the kennels, where the bodies of his wife and son were, despite telling investigators he had turned them over to check for signs of life.
How many seconds is that from the time the Suburban arrives at the kennels and he calls 911?
Roughly 20 seconds.
Friday, the prosecution resting their case.
State of South Carolina rests.
But not before introducing more on a potential motive for the double homicide. That the two victims, Maggie and Paul Murdaugh, had discovered bags of pills in Alex's bag a month before their killings. A May 2021 voicemail message from Paul to Alec was read in court.
Because when you get here, we need to talk. Mom found several bags of pills in your computer bag. And this is again from Paul to Alex on May 6th.
This bolstering the state's argument that the perfect storm was approaching the once prominent South Carolina attorney, whose other alleged crimes ranging from money laundering to selling painkillers to insurance fraud have now taken center stage. The defense pushing back, saying the state's case lacks hard evidence, like an eyewitness, video, or fingerprints that showed Alex Murdaugh pulled the trigger that night.
There is no direct and frankly circumstantial evidence presented that the defendant shot and killed his wife Maggie or son Paul. Brutal murder of his son Paul. He had no DNA from Paul on his clothing in an area where you would expect to find it.
The defense will now call their witnesses, which could include Murdaugh's surviving son, Buster, as they fight to prove his innocence. Catie Beck, NBC News.
Thanks for watching our YouTube channel. Follow today's top stories and breaking news by downloading the NBC News app.